Hey, on me ducks. How are we doing? Do you know, I timed that perfectly of on a stopwatch, when to set the music, when to set the interconnected PCs, laptops, mobile phones all connecting up, and then when to hit the 1 minute timer. And every time I go to hit the 1 minute timer, it won't start. It takes like 5 attempts. At least it doesn't cut back to me, kind of like with my little mouse trying to get it to work. Perhaps it needs a charge. I think it's all right. Anyway, how are we doing? Let's do our hellos. I've got a new iPad and it's huge. And it's kind of designed now to go that way, because if you can turn it around and have it way, but then all the up button is a down button for volume, so it's better to have it as it's. Oh look, and now I don't know what I've done here. But anyway, let's do the hellos and welcomes to everyone. So first one in was Kajia. Is that how you say your name? Nice to meet you. I've not seen you before, but welcome. And then the lovely Nauka or Lily, but Tarot E Oracle. Hello. The lovely Marilyn's here, and Rob. Hi, Rob. We've got Jen. Hi, Jen. Lovely to see you. And Rachel. Our Sandra's here. We've got Lily Rose. Hello, lovely. Nice to see you. Kristen Louise is here. Hello. Nancy. Hi, Nancy. Dawn. And Dawn, I don't know why your comments keep getting held when you're just saying hello to people. It's most bizarre, but YouTube is playing up just recently, isn't it? Suzanne, hello. We've got Fireside Chat, hello. The lovely Forever Whereafter. Our Chris is here. Hi, Chris. How you doing? Will, hello, Will. Saskia, SCB, nice to see you. Hoping Robin from yes, he did post in the week. It's on his, if you go to his post bit at the top, it just says not going live this week. I think he put up at the beginning of the week to say there'll be no live this Saturday. Artemis, hello. Sarah, hi. We have Older Moon, hello. Vintage Moon, hello. Apox, Yasmin, Raven Glands, hello, nice to see you. Rachel, hello, Rachel. Elspeth, all the old favourites and new ones too, which is really lovely. We've got Ferdiad, hello. MA, hello. Latte, Letty, sorry. I'm coffee mad, aren't I? Latte. That's normally my first drink of the day. Jennifer, hello. Golden, hello, lovely. We have Huge, says Chris, not quite sure. Thace, hello. Trisha, Merlin, Rosa, Sharon, Imka, Tereflo, is that how you say your name? Hello, welcome. Very autumnal knitwear you've got on tonight, Simon, says Ferdiad. Yeah, it is. And this I got about 2 years ago, and it became very tight. But because of my new kind of, well, not new, but sticking to plan, it's quite baggy, but it's nice. It's a nice knitted one that you can snuggle up with, and I thought it would fit with tonight's theme. Have I missed anybody? Oh yeah, Sandy's in Balloon. Is he bringing back a Bolognese, or is it Bolognese? You say, isn't it? Tarot deck. That would be cool. Carol, hello. And Craggy, the lovely Laurie's here. Nice to see you. I think I know why Dawn's name keeps getting held. What with all the changes of rules and regulations, her name may be suspect. Dawn, the pawn. Star. Well, it's prawn, isn't it? Rather than porn. Anna, Diana, Kathy, Claire, Nancy, Jack. I went to Solomon Temple, good views, and the lovely shop in Buxton. You went to Arnemisha's, the purple shop in Arnemisha's that Barbara and Flavia run. Yeah, I spent quite a bit when I went a couple of weeks ago. And Solomon's Temple, it's a bit of a climb, isn't it? But when you get to it, that's definitely baggy. You'll be able to layer up and keep cozy. Yeah. Donna, hello. You skinny P word. Got a fair bit to go yet, but took a bit off. Tammy Pie, hello. Did actually find a tarot shop in Bologna, and he's bringing me some decks back. No idea what they are. That's really exciting, though. Thank you, Claire. That's nice of you to say. You're also commendable. Yeah, and I'm at the bottom, so. Oh, so how's everybody doing? How's everybody's week been? It's been a week. Well, it's been 2 weeks since I was here. We did Spotlight 2 weeks ago tonight, myself and Cheryl. Wasn't here last week because I was in Castleton and I did Mam Tour. I don't know if anybody's seen the vlog yet, but it was a personal goal of mine. I was going to do it, and I was aiming to have a 5 stone weight loss. And then I was going to attempt to climb Mam Tor. But as it turned out, it's 4.5 so far. And we had the opportunity to go. And I thought, what the heck? Wipe off for tomorrow what you can do today. So we went, and it was an absolute killer. I'm not going to lie. There was a moment where, you get that. Well, you probably don't. You fitties, but when you get that, when you've really exert yourself and you get like an acidic taste in your throat, and you feel like you can't breathe, and your legs and everything go like jelly. That. And then I thought at one point, not to be, if anybody's eating, you might want to mute me for a second, but I thought I'm going to be sick. And then I got to a point where it levels off a bit, and I leaned against, because the nice thing about Mam Tor is there are handrails up a lot of it. There aren't benches, which there should be. There are kind of at different levels, but whereas Glastonbury Tor, there's no benches. You've just got to, no rails. You've just got to go up. Yeah, totally know that feeling. Yeah, it's that real sort of, oh God. And I got to a point and I thought, actually, I'm happy with this spot. It's an amazing view. I don't really need to go to the summit. And I'd kind of talked myself into it. And then I was leaning, because there's no bench, I was just leaning against one of the handrails, and I could see somebody coming up who really needed the handrail. And I thought, I'm in their way. And then I looked at them and I thought, do you know what? If they can do it, I'm going to give it a go. So because I had to move off the handrail to let them by anyway, I thought, I'm just going to go. And I'm so glad I did, because when I got to the top, I wanted to pass out. But it was one of the most breathtaking views I've ever experienced. It was just in every direction. That area of the Peak District is just, and you can see all the peaks, and all the valleys, and it's just incredible. And the thing is as well, I did vlog it, but the camera doesn't do it justice. I'm sure you've been in similar situations where you see something like, wow, you take a photograph or you video it, and you look at the picture back and you think, that doesn't do it any justice. And that's how it was. And it was so cold at the top. It was very misty because we was that high. But everybody was like holding their ears because it was really painful. But anyway, we didn't stay up there long. We stayed up there for about 20, 25 minutes. We got lots of photographs, and I did video and did a 360-degree view. And then we came back down, and Castleton is so quintessentially English village life. It's the picture postcard, as they say. Little cottages, little curiosity shops, lots of crystal shop. And if you didn't see the vlog, one of my main purchases was this cherry quartz. Look at it. It's beautiful. And I have it under the light, and it just, it's magnificent. Really gorgeous piece. So I'm always terrified I'm going to knock it off the table though. But there's a sofa the other side of it, so if it does, it'll have a soft landing. That's huge. More tea, Vicar. That's a weapon. Yeah, it's beautiful. And I stood in the outside on the little street, and I looked in the window, and I've seen cherry quartz before and regretted not buying a piece. And I've always said to myself, if I see a really nice piece of cherry quartz, then I will get it. And there was this crystal ball. It was about this big. It's similar where it's not too dense, because some of them can look a bit like calcite, like a red calcite. But I like them where you can see the quartz in it. And I thought, oh, that's beautiful. I'm going to go in and get it. And my friend didn't know, totally surprised. When I walked in, she was getting him to get it out the window, and she went, yeah, I'll take that. And I was like, but then I saw that piece. I thought, actually, that might be a blessing in disguise, because I've got more room for that. What are the properties? Well, you see, red quartz for me is a good all-rounder anyway. It's a very good healing quartz. I keep a lot of quartz pieces around me. These are fire and ice quartz, but I have a lot around me. I have them at work. I have them in every room in the house. And of course, then when we think about the chakra and bringing in the color of red, then, that's very sort of root, isn't it? So it's a kind of altitude sickness, to be sure. Oh, that acidy thing. I have some really nice quartz crystal in cherry quartz, Sandra. Selenite is powerful. I've got a beautiful big crystal ball, selenite ball. It's on one of my little altars. They both look clear. Oh, these ones, no, it's fire and ice, where you've got the crackled. These two are really nice. Look at the colours in them. So beautiful. And then I've got a couple of bigger pieces, which aren't, they are classed as fire and ice, but. And then I've got this one. It's quite a nice piece as well. I love them. And I've done really well for crystals this year, because I picked up this piece of labradorite, which is like the most amazing. And I can't even remember, where did I get this from? Oh, I got this when I was with Becca, and we went into Oxford, and we went in that little shop. Do you remember, Becca, the indoor market? And I think, did I also get that piece of? No, I didn't. I think I got this. in Stratford-upon-Avon with the sphere. Yeah. So I picked up some nice crystals this year. I always carry labradorite in my pocket. Yeah. Oxford, it was a beautiful shop. It was really lovely. Nowhere in the UK is high enough to get altitude sickness. Is that angelite? Which one? The blue one? That's blue calcite. I went to, and that's what I'm using in front of my moon goddess. I'll show it you. So I have a sun goddess, a moon goddess, and I have Gaia to represent. So this is the moon goddess. I have Gaia to represent the earth, and that's the blue calcite that I have as a representation for the moon. And then I have the sun goddess, and I have a piece of orange calcite for the sun. And then in front of Gaia, I have a piece of fluorite, which looks very, very earthy. I'm going to put these back because I'm worried I'll knock them over if they're on my desk. So that was what was happening. I just looked at the screen then, I saw I wasn't there, and I was like, that was a real sort of mind mess. Like, where have I gone? Keeps the boogeyman away. Is angelite similar to blue calcite then? Lemurian blue calcite. Dawn saying something. Let me get comments up on this now. I've got to go all the way to the bottom. Grab me little. Dawn says, Simon, I drove past Glastonbury Tor yesterday and noted it is on a green hill instead of a parched brown now. We've had rain. Oh, was it looking all brown? I can't imagine. See, I have been in summer. I've been in August twice. But yeah, every time I go, when it's because we've got, look at now, we're in the middle of a storm, aren't we? Is it Storm Amy? I think it's called. It's waiting patiently for your arrival with Sandra. It looks very similar. I have an angelite palm stone. Wow. Not much pattern in it. Yeah, blue calcite has got quite a bit of pattern. Yeah, Sandra's not going up the tour this year. I'm going on my own. I'm going to be brave and go up all by myself. Yeah, Sandra and I had a talk about it, and that's the thing, if you've been up the tour before, it's not like I would recommend anybody who goes to Glastonbury for the first time, and they are able to go up the tour because it is so worth it when you're at the top. But we've been up quite a few times. But I said to Sandra, while ever I am in a position where I can get up there, I'm going to get up there because I know the day will come when I can't, and then I might think to myself, I should have done it last year or whatever. So it's kind of how I'm looking at it. Storm Amy stole my recycle bin. What a bitch. North America's version of Glastonbury, 2 hours down the road from me. Just beautiful. Oh, wow. All right. So, are we feeling autumnal? Because I am. And I was sat in today. So I did go out this morning. We were playing it by ear because we heard that Storm Amy was coming. And from about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, it hit. And last night, I thought I wouldn't get a wink of sleep. I must have been so exhausted that as soon as my head hit the pillow, that was it. I was gone, out for the count. But the wind was whistling that loud. It was like there was a banshee screeching outside the window. And the rain was just pelting. And I sent a message to my friend saying, looks like the walk is off in the morning. To which the reply was, well, set your alarm, kind of, because we'll play it by ear. So I did set my alarm for 5, and the rain had stopped, but it was very windy. But actually, I'm really glad we did it because it was really invigorating. And it seemed to push us around. And when you're walking uphill and you've got the wind behind you, that helps. But I was back home for 8:30 this morning, and I did my food shopping that I needed just for the day. And I thought, I'm really in the mood because I've got lots on most weekends now, right up until I go away. And I thought, do you know what? I just want a hermit day where I put thick jumper on, pajama bottoms, plug in my blanket, put Netflix on, and just hibernate. And I was actually, the topic I was going to talk about tonight was, and we can still kind of touch on it, but whether the phrase or the description of the hermit is still relevant today in this fast-paced world that we live in. I mean, my short answer is absolutely, it is. And I think it's important. But I know some people who just never stop. I've got a friend who's a workaholic, will work 7 days a week, even goes on holiday and works. I've got other people who just can't. If I said to them that I've had today doing pretty much nothing, they would be horrified because they have to fill every moment of their day with something. There's got to be plans. They've got a social calendar, and I can't fit you. I can fit you in, in 7 weeks on a Saturday afternoon, and that's how their life is. Hermit is healthy. Hermit relevant than ever. I agree, Golden, and with Jen. I just think we need balance in all things, and I just thought today that actually it's going to be really good for me. And because I've done long hours, we've had open evenings, we've had youth clubs, we've had all sorts. And I just thought, actually, I'm coming up to a holiday. And if I'm not careful, because I've shared with you before, a few months ago, I was diagnosed with exhaustion, and I was put on medication for it. Because I will work, and I do fill my time. But every so often I crash. And I want to avoid that because obviously this time when I break up from work, I'm going away for a whole week. And I can't afford to be poorly for that time. I'm so looking forward to it. So I thought, actually today, just press the pause button and go into hermit mode. We are supposed to be retired, but every day is rammed full of tasks. So, Laurie, do you never just schedule some downtime? Marilyn says, Simon, it's one of the most important cards that is much needed, even though people don't realize it. Yeah, I agree. So that was kind of what it was going to be about. And then I put Netflix on and I started watching Monster, the Ed Gein story, which I think I've only watched the first 3. It's an 8-part series. It's there's been 3, hasn't there? There was the Jeffrey Dahmer one. There was those 2 brothers. Is it Menendez brothers or something like that? And this is the 3rd one, which is about Ed Gein. And I never realised. I realised half of it. I never realised that Norman Bates was based on him, and it brings that into the show. It brings in Alfred Hitchcock. It brings in Anthony Perkins. But I never realised that the character Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs was also based on him. And I was enjoying it. But then I got to the point this afternoon where I just switched the telly off and I thought, I'm just going to do a bit of meditating, or I just need no noise. I just need solitude and quiet. And the rain, as I said, was beating against the window. And I just thought, oh, how lucky am I? I've got a roof over my head. I'm warm. I've got food in the cupboards and in the fridge. I've got everything I need. And I just felt really content as well as really cozy. And then I started thinking about this time of year, the dark half of the year. And that's what I themed kind of our chat about tonight. So I hope you'll join me for it. I'm going to try and keep an eye on comments, but I also need to come off comments on here just to get my notes up. So if I could ask the admin as well to highlight to me if I miss any comments, that would be really helpful. So yeah, do join in, and if you're watching this back, because not everybody watches it live, who have we got? We've got 134 here, so that's nice. Do join in, but if you're watching it back, then obviously leave comments below as well. This new iPad takes some getting used to. Like on a laptop, you got your red, amber, and green to minimize or shut it down. It's the same on the iPad now. So I thought we could have a chat about Simon is too high up for Bigfoot to be looking in the windows, Jen. No Bigfoot looking in your windows. No. The only person that'd be able to get up here and have a look through my windows would be Spider-Man. That's the only one. Or we did have some riots in 2013, so 12 years ago. And I did look up one day and there was a helicopter so close to the building that I could see them in it. And I thought, I feel really self-conscious because no one's ever been able to look in on me while I've lived here, ever. And then I remembered that our windows are mirrored on the outside anyway. Ferdy had to put Spider-Man as well. Yeah. So today, I thought we could explore how we spiritually prepare. And that doesn't mean you've got to have a religion. Spirituality is what it is to you. Some people talk about spiritual experiences when they hear a beautiful piece of music, or they go out on a. I noticed that this morning as well. Probably won't now because it's raining, but when we went for the walk this morning, because it was still dark and was in the middle of nowhere, the sky was amazing. See all of the beautiful constellations. Hopefully you were decent. I'm always decent. I'm not. So just how we kind of prepare for the darker half of the year. So most belief systems, if you like, honor in some way the turning of the wheel, whether that's, more kind of mainstream religions where they celebrate things like Christmas and Easter, and everything comes out of that wheel of the year. But from a pagan perspective, the dark half of the year is approaching. It's from Samhain to Beltane on the 1st of May, so 31st of October. But I noticed a shift as soon as September came. It was bizarre because we did have a few nice days in September, but we went from August, which was really nice, to the 1st of September feeling like autumn. And it was the first time it was like just a switch that I've been, kind of consciously aware of. So we're going to be talking about now really autumn and through winter, and what we do to prepare ourselves for that. Okay, so I have got some banners that are prepared as well, but I'm conscious if I go to the banners and stay there, then I need to go back to comments so I don't miss anyone in the chat. But what is the dark half of the year? So when we think about dark half of the year, we think about obviously the nights drawing in, it's darker in the mornings. A lot of countries put their clocks back, and I always have to do that little spring forward, fall back to remember which way around it goes. But we put our clocks back, and it was already dark this morning, and we haven't put our clocks back yet. We tend to do ours at the end of the month. I think in the States it's any time in the next week or so, isn't it? Might even be next week. I know there's a couple of weeks where closer. No, you're further away. We're closer at spring when you put yours forward, and we haven't. But nature itself just retreats, doesn't it, at this time of the year? Animals hibernate, trees kind of let go of their leaves, and everything just changes. The temperature drops, it gets crispy, we start to see our breaths. I love walking and hearing that crunching sound under my feet. And October in particular is one of my favourite months of the year, just because of how nature just changes right in front of your eyes, as well as birthday month and going away to Glastonbury in October every year. But just more so just that time of year and that change. I love autumn and spring are kind of on a par, but if I had to choose one, autumn would just pip it, I think. And it's not a season of death. It's because we always think about the thinning of the veil, and we start to be more conscious about mortality and our ancestors and our loved ones that have gone before us. But it's not necessarily a season of death. It's a season of transformation, just like the death card in the tarot teaches us that it's about transformation. And that's the same. Nature echoes that, in as much as it's things have to die away so that the newness can come. Michigan goes back on November the 2nd. I just saw something then. Nature is a reflection of the proper cycle of life. And it's, yes, yeah. And we have to remember that we're of the earth. I know not everybody subscribes to that belief, but, we came out of the ocean, and then we crawled on the land, and we crawled trees, and science is proving that soon we won't need our little toes anymore because we've got no need for them because we don't climb trees. We lost our tails at the back of us, but you can still feel where they would have been. So we're from nature. We are nature. And so therefore, I think it's natural that we, when we get to this time of the year, also have that sense of wanting to hibernate and to gather things around us to protect us through the winter months. So for me, that's what the dark half of the year represents. That, and also that it's an opportunity for us to turn inwards, because whilst nature is retreating and preparing, and we are spending probably more time indoors, then, and the nights are darker, then it's a great time for us to go inward and to do that rest and renewal in preparation as well. But it's also a great opportunity, because if we're going inward, that's when we have the opportunity to do some shadow work. What I want to do before I go any further is just kind of set the scene as well. So I've got a couple of little mini pumpkins. Don't know if you'll see them or not. So I'm going to pop them there. I'm going to light a candle, but I've also brought out my circle of friends, because we're a community, and if I'm lighting a candle, then I want to light a candle that represents all of us in this community that band together to support each other in friendship, whilst we have this discussion. Can that be seen? I don't want to keep leaving this out as well. Talk about comfort. So good. So let's put our circle of friends there. And then I'm going to light a dark candle. So this is a frothy candle. Only you, Chris, could turn that into something smutty. So we'll light a candle as well. And this has got a red center. Well, purple and black, burns beautifully. So we'll put that there for us, just to set the scene while we're talking about autumn and the dark part of the month. How lovely is that circle of friends with the candle fire? Yeah, all gathering around it, aren't they? I've still been do you know? And yeah, I can get that, because even today when I put Netflix on, I made a big mug of tea and I snuggled down and I plugged my blanket in and I put it over me. After an hour, I was like, throwing the blanket off. Hi, Amanda. Nice to see you. So yeah, so that's kind of what the dark half of the year is. A time to reflect, a time to go inwards, and a time to reflect. And it just lends itself perfectly to that, doesn't it? All right, so the next prompt that I want to talk about is signs that it's time to shift your energy. And don't forget, do join in. Please share your thoughts. If you do put them in capitals, I'm probably more likely to see it. Wish I could make that a little bit smaller. That banner is just a little bit too big, but I don't know if I can. Brand. No. Oh, That's a little bit better, isn't it? That's even better. We'll go with that. So signs that it's time to shift your energy. Yeah, I know, I've sorted it, Laurie. For me, and I thought long and hard about this, I can, like I started off by saying, I had to look after myself. I know that I got a propensity just to keep going, and then I crash and I burn, and I'm no good for anyone for like at least a week, if not longer. But I start to feel more tired at this time of the year. And when I am feeling tired, I don't like any sort of external stimulus. And the reason why I call my channel the Hermit's Cave was literally because I do hermit away here. I've got all my stuff I need around me, and I lock that door. And even though I'm in the middle of a city, the world disappears. And I do lots of different practices, my Buddhist practice, but also meditation and quiet reflection, even when that's what I bring in when I do my card readings as well. But, you know, when I get tired, I can't have that external stimulus as well as having ADD. So I have to turn the TV off if it's on. It doesn't really go on much these days, to be honest. I tend to just watch YouTube and turn the TV off. I can't have any noise. And I become quite introverted, but also try and use that as an advantage to turn that introversion, is that a word? Introversion, to become introspective so that it still has a purpose. I don't see it as being idle or lazy. I think, as we talked about earlier, it's really, really good. Really good for you. I'm just seeing there's lots of capitals and I don't want to miss them. So I'm going to pause yabbiting on for a minute and see a few. So Nancy says the cooling of the weather in Montreal with all the leaves starting to change. Yeah, that's a good sign for you. When worry and fear set in, I know it's time to remember what is important and step back from the news and world. Family first. Yeah, and, you know, family, friends, loved ones, whoever they are, they bring you the most comfort, don't they, and the most joy and escapism. And that's why I do these little adventures, try and do them at least once a month, because I connect with people and I get out of my cave and I see things and I just really love it. And again, being outdoors is great. And you can still be introspective at this time of year and do some fantastic walks. Well, I'm not saying that, you know, when it comes to the dark half of the year, we just have to hibernate and lock ourselves away. I think it's good to use that time of the year for your spiritual growth. But I also think it's great to get out there and see the beautiful colours of autumn, or, you know, the stillness of winter. And it's brilliant. Nature is wonderful at all times of the year. The darkest of the day is longer, less sunlight. Yeah, and I think it was about a week and a half ago, I read online somebody had put, tonight is the last time the sun will set after 7 p.m. until March. I was like, oh my gosh. Wow, that hit home. For me, it's the changes in the angle of light. In angel of light. No, angle of light. Can't read. It's definitely shifting time. I've just had a month of COVID, 2 weeks in bed. Well, I hope you're feeling better now. There's a lot of that going around. This, Simon, I'm not sure what that was. Let me look for some more. My hydrangeas have turned That's always a sign for me, even though it's still hot here. Wow. Time away from the world is so needed. Absolutely agree. Sandra says, I know we're not quite at Samhain yet, but I've already had ancestor visits. I'm going to talk a little bit about ancestors as well, so that's really timely. Oops. It's not lazy. People think it is, but it's maintenance. I agree. You know, and we're not doing it necessarily every day, but even if you are, if your body needs it, then your body needs it. It's really important that we pay attention, isn't it, to what's going on. I just love the hermit state. It always gives me such comfort. It's so important to just be and let yourself to just feel. I really enjoy the darker half of the year. Each year gives me a lot of wisdom. Yeah. And yeah, good point, MA. She says, I'm always sorry for those who get sad, but I have the reverse. In my September, insomnia anxiety ease up. Yeah, as the days get shorter. Yeah, and everybody's going to be affected differently. I work with somebody who has SAD and has all the light lamps and all that just to get through, but you can always tell the shift with this person. Another sign, it takes it off, doesn't it? It takes the banners off when I show comments. Didn't realise that. Is the desire to pull back from social activities. Oh God, it's so strong. This week, people were talking about Christmas already, and they're saying, "Oh, we need to organise our Christmas night out." And there's about 3 that's been mused, and I'm invited to go to all of them. And I just think, I just don't want to do it. I love getting home when it's dark and hermiting, locking the door, getting comfy, lighting some incense. Just light some incense. I didn't do that when I lit the candles, did I? We will light an incense stick as well, because I light incense all year round, but I light it more in winter. Isn't it funny? But I think it's because I like candles more in winter, and the two kind of go hand in hand. I light a candle and I think I need to light some incense. I have social anxiety. Oh, it's jumped already. Sandra, I'll try and find that comment because it jumps in about groups of 10 on this thing. No, not Xmas yet. I know people are already talking about it, but it's something like 12 weeks. Don't really like big parties or anything. Yeah, I'm the same, but our Slimmer World, yeah, it's planned already. I've got that Slimmer World. I've got the workplace that I go to, as in the workplace I go to, the site that I am based at, and my own teams. And I'm like, just don't want to do it. Don't want to do it. I have no desire. Now, in the spring and summer, when it's light in the evenings, no problem. I love a drink after work with friends. We often do it. Sit outside, days getting cooler, I could stay out. But when it gets to winter, it's a different kettle of fish. I don't want to do that thing to party. It's not going to do it now. Lord, it's going to make me look daft. Maybe it isn't that. Maybe it's that. Oh, there we go. I don't want to party. I love the orange at this time of year. Yeah, and if you saw the decks that I'm going to be working with in October as well, in fact, I'll come to that as well. Oops. Simon, do you have good ventilation in the room? Yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah, I do have good ventilation. There's always windows open. There isn't in this room, but just through the kitchen here is window open. I've got an air vent, and yeah, doors are always propped open. So, and I've lit incense now for 30, 40 years. Gosh, Do you remember Spiritual Sky that were really big incense in the 80s? It's like the only one you could get. Spiritual Sky. I'd be about 12. So over 40 years. So yeah, feeling more tired, but also trying to turn that introvertedness into introspection, a desire to pull back from social activities. Now, this won't be for everybody, but when I sat here this afternoon putting some notes together, and I'm not going to go too much into this because it's work that I find that I do at this time of year, but old wounds or memories resurfacing. Don't know if anybody else experiences that during the dark half of the year. But I think it's because I do more reflective type practices, and that naturally leads to shadow work, that a lot of stuff comes up. So I was like, do I include that? Because is that necessarily just down to the dark part of the year? But I did anyway, because I do find as well, and it might just be the way it's worked out with my family, but a lot of people that we've lost in the family is always in winter. I don't think we've ever lost anybody in the spring and summer months. It's always around this time of year. So my dad, what I'm talking about, my dad did pass away on Father's Day. That was June. But, like my nephew, my mum, my grandparents, all around kind of December, January, February time. So maybe it's that. Maybe again, like I said, it's because I'm doing a lot of introspection and shadow work. But old wounds and memories seem to surface for me during this time of year. Yes, old wounds open. Laurie's mum passed away on Halloween. Wow. When the veil is at its thinnest. Shadow work seems easy to do in this half of the year. Absolutely. Got enough new wounds this year, says MA. Yeah, totally get that. Gosh, Chris, I can't believe that's a year already. Oh, my life. Staggering, isn't it? When you think about it, because obviously you miss your loved ones. And then another part of things, it's 3.5 years since I lost my mum. And I'm like, I mean, she's always here with me. And again, this is something I'll talk about in terms of like ancestral stuff at this time of year. But you just think, how's that possible that time is, there's so much of that time in between. Yeah, and then the final thing I put as well is a pull towards slowness, solitude, and silence. And it's almost like, for me, it's almost like permission to lock myself away. Permission, because people say, don't they, on a dark night, I get all cozy and, I don't want to go out in this weather. I mean, if somebody texts me now and said, I'm in town, do you fancy coming down and meeting me for a drink? I'd be like, no, it's terrible weather out there. Whereas if it was June, it'd be a bit of a, summer shower. I probably won't think twice. But it gives me permission to pull towards that sort of solitude and periods of silence and slowness and stillness. Ancestor shelf, yeah. Time to heal, absolutely. And again, great if you are doing that shadow work. But if you are feeling any of these that I've talked about, whether it's feeling more tired, more time spent in introspection, a desire to pull back from social activities, um, old wounds, memories, past hurts, grief, and that pull towards solitude. If you're experiencing any of those, you are not alone. It's part of the natural rhythm of nature, of the cycle of the world, So don't allow, what I was going to say is don't give yourself a hard time. Don't feel that you're alone in it, because we all go through it to some degree. And hopefully with what people are saying in the comments, where they're agreeing, helps us to realize that actually it's very natural. It's very natural. And remember, we are of the earth. We are part of nature, and this is what nature does. So why would we be any different? It's always a pull. So that's signs. And then I'm just going to move on to spiritual practices. And we've kind of touched on some of them already. How are we doing for time? We're nearly at 8 o'clock. And I've written a few down that I wanted to talk about that are important to me during the dark half of the year. And again, please do share. A lot of you are anyway. But one thing that I find that I do a lot more in the dark half of the year is letting go of things. I think it might have been Becca who told me about this, about getting bay leaves and writing things on bay leaves and burning them. I know I've done some rituals with Becca when I've been there. Could have been Sandra on the bay leaves, but I've done some rituals with Becca where we would write stuff that we want to banish and we want to let go of, and we'll write it down, and we'll use a sturdy pot like a cauldron and set fire to it, and then bury the ashes in the earth. And letting go at this time of year is, again, it's in rhythm with nature. The trees are letting go, aren't they? We only have to look at, it's, in some parts of the world, autumn is referred to as fall because leaves fall, and that's all part of it. So letting go of stuff is really good ritual to do. It's a beautiful ritual. Sandra says, yes, I do that with bay leaves. I think I bought some, and I've still got some left. And they're in my drawer under my sacred space from Sons of Asgard. Talking of Sons of Asgard as well, just mention this because it's in keeping. We're not quite at Samhain yet, but I've still got some Samhain magical spray. And the smells of their sprays, their magical sprays, my favourite is Lord of the Forest. And I've just ordered some more of this. This smells divine. But the Samhain spray is gorgeous. And again, it's here because before I go live, I do spray around. And they also have some magical oil. And this is new for this year. This is the Samhain one. I bought it last year, but not used it. And just putting a few drops on my pulse points as well is, and I don't think you're meant to put it on skin. They'll tell you not to put it on skin, but I've never had a reaction to any of their oils. Sandra, you use a lot of their oils. I think you've put it on your skin, haven't you, as well? I think they will say in the shop, don't. So don't do it. I'm not telling you to do it. But what I'm saying is, because you can pop it onto, for spell work, or pop it onto items. But I wear it as well, and I've never had any issues with it. So yeah. And then if we're letting go of stuff, a good journal prompt as well for this time of year is, what am I carrying that no longer serves me? Because you might be sat there and thinking, well, this is great what he's saying about letting go of stuff. I'd like to try that as a ritual. And you might just think of one thing, you might think, oh, actually, I really don't want to be thinking about that anymore. I need to get that out of my life. And you'll do the banishing ritual or the letting go of ritual, however you want to term it. But actually, sit with a journal and write down everything that bothers you, everything that irks you, everything that you just think, ugh. And you'll find that some things perhaps need to be there. And it's just a case that you don't enjoy them as much as others. But actually, you'll look at that list and think, I could let go of that. And if I let go of that, my life will be the better for it. And then, journaling for me, no, it's in my work bag. I've got my Midori, which has a section in for this type of thing, not my daily, but just this type of thing that I want to do. And I bought a Hobonichi for next year. And I find it really therapeutic just sometimes to dump stuff. I often think, oh, if anything happens to me and somebody picks this up and reads it, what on earth are you going to think? But you just have to let that go. Let it go. You're not going to be around to worry about it. So journal as well about stuff that you want to let go of that won't serve you anymore, and your life will be enriched having let go of it. I've only just started the tarot journal you brought me last year. Now seems right. Absolutely. And in the pagan world, Samhain is the new year, isn't it? I know we follow the old kind of Roman year, but years are weird things anyway, aren't they? Time is a man-made concept. We did where I work, it's an academic year. Our year started 4 weeks ago. So Marilyn says, I've been doing a 2-card draw that Will suggested. What will I keep from today? What will I let go? That's good. My friend Lainey from Heebie Jeebie sells oils like that, including one for menstrual pain. She has always had to make sure she stresses that people do not put it on their lady parts. Oh God, talk about state of the obvious, isn't it? But if you don't say it sometimes, you can end up in hot water, can't you? We follow the old gods here. Yeah. Jen said it's good to throw up your feelings on a piece of paper, but my idea of the 7th circle of hell is to have to write something. Yeah, and it's not for everybody, is it? And we've got modern technology now. By the way, I've got an autumnal mug. I can't tip it up and show you that it says autumn underneath, but it does, because I'll spill the contents out. But I've never used these, and it took me a year to collect them because Costa, the coffee shop in the UK, brought one out for every season, and it took me the full year. If I drink from it, you might see that it says autumn underneath. It's gone cold. Just pretend it's a nice cold coffee I've took from the fridge. So I thought, well, while we're talking about autumn and this time of year, I'll get my autumn mug out. It is a lovely size mug, Chris. It's not too big, but it's not small either. And I've got you might have seen in recent weeks, I've got these really big round cups that I got from John Lewis. And they're Denby, and they're really nice, but the coffee goes quick, really fast in them because they're big. Yep, autumn. So, letting go rituals is one spiritual practice. Because I've highlighted it, it's gone again. The second one is stillness practice. Now, I used to study with the Brahma Kumaris, and they used to do something called jam. JAM, and it stood for just a minute, where at certain points of the day, they recommend once an hour. For 1 minute, jam, just a minute, you pause whatever you're doing and you just steady your mind and just take it to a place where it's completely clear. And then after a minute, you carry on with your day. It's not always practical, particularly when you work full time. However, a perfect time of the day is dusk, because for me, a perfect time of the day, because if I do things too late into the evening, I'm knackered. And the older I get, the more knackered I get. And so I'm finding now that I'm going to bed around 10 o'clock. So everybody that does lives at 9 is great, but I'll tend to be there for about an hour and then I'm going. But I find dusk is the perfect time during the darker months. And that is just time. And it can be sitting in your favorite armchair or lounging on the couch, but just to light a candle at dusk and just take 5 minutes just to sit in silence. Trust me, if you do that every day, wow, the difference it makes. Just 5 minutes every day. There are some, and it was one of the things that used to really bother me when I was a Buddhist, where people would come in and they'd say, oh, I meditated for 3 hours last night. And I used to feel really inferior. I'd be like, God, my back would be killing me and I'd have a numb bum. And I used to think, oh, I'm not as good as them. Don't need to meditate for 5 hours. But stillness practice is something that I really like. And because it's the dark half of the year, it's easiest to do. Now, when I get home from work in another few weeks, it will be dark. So I tend to do it when I get in, and I sit in my favourite spot, and I'll just light the candle that's, I'm looking at it now, light the candle, it's in a little glass jar that's next to me, and I'll light it, and I'll just spend 5 minutes. I don't blow the candle out because then you end up with that tunneling. I'll let it burn for the rest of the evening, but just taking a few minutes just to have some stillness. That candle burns nicely, huh? Yeah, it does. Is it? I thought it was doing something it shouldn't then, because I said it burnt nicely. Who has the time to meditate for 3 hours? I know. But they would say, I got up at 4 a.m. and I meditated till 7, and I'd think, great, I don't. Oh, I love the stillness practice. It's very helpful while looking at the fire of a candle. It helps to see auras as well. Yeah, and have you ever tried... It's going to make me sound a little bit, like I might need some help. But I did a development circle in 2001. I've talked about it before on my channel, not about this particular thing, but it was a development circle, and that's where I learned that I was quite good at psychometry. But one of the things that Miriam Gifford, she was called, one of the things she used to do was to put a candle in the middle of the room, and she'd tell us to stare at the candle and then just lose ourselves in the flame. But then at certain parts, she'd say, in your mind, speak to the candle and tell it to dance. And we'd stare at it, and in our minds, we were dance, 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 dance. And the flame used to stretch and shorten and wave from side to side. And I was like, how are we doing this? How? It was bizarre. But very often when I'm staring at a candle flame, I think of that, and my mind starts, dance, dance. Yeah, read that. Every morning I take a few minutes and call in my guides and angels for guidance and protection. Then I do my daily draw. Yeah, and I'm sure most of us that are tarot readers as well will have our little rituals around reading our cards, whether that's lighting incense, like I do, light a candle, I ring a bell. You might have, next to me I've got the my little favourite one at the minute that was sent to me from Japan. Makes a beautiful, beautiful sound. I've got my big bowl. And these are ritualistic things, aren't we? Just to get us into that frame of mind. These, they're really expensive. I'm going down a rabbit hole. These are really expensive. They're £15. I thought they were £16.99. But look, you saw how long ago I lit that. They burn so slowly. They burn for about an hour. Really, really good value. Love them. Anyway. Chris says, who has the time to meditate for 3 hours? Is important doom scrolling to be done. Yeah. But isn't it lovely though when you can switch off from that? I'm too Western. I can't meditate unless I walk. Walking meditation is perfect. Surely sleep is better for you than meditating. Yeah, but 5 minutes a day just clears your mind, because we live in our heads, don't we? We feel with our hearts and we live in our heads. We're even in the drive. If we think, where am I in my body? Most of us will think we're here somewhere, because our brain's there. We're thinking, we're looking, we're hearing, we're talking. Our senses, I know we've got touch, but we live in our heads and our brains never switch off. We're always thinking of something. Even when somebody says, oh, you're a million miles away, what are you thinking about? And you say, oh, I don't know. We are thinking about something, and that can be exhausting. So just taking 5 minutes is really good, really important. Hello, Marie France. Nice of you to join us. Can we scroll down, see next on. I love working this way with flames. As you said, Simon, we are energy. Fire is energy too. We can influence one another. The interconnectedness of all things, absolutely. Okay, so the next one is divination tools. So I'm a cartomancer, so my preferred method of divination is cards, but it's whatever works for you. And then when we're reading our cards during the dark half of the year, we could be asking things like, what lesson is this season offering me? And also, if we're talking about letting things go, what truth is ready to surface? Because you can't take something out and banish it and let it go, set fire to it, whatever ritual you want to do, unless you do the work to grab it and bring it to the surface. And that's the essence of shadow work, is that's buried, that we've constantly put lids on and thought, I'm not going to deal with that, I'm not ready to deal with that. We push it down, and then it sits here like an anxious knot. So yeah, what truth is ready to surface? Now, I've also put together this afternoon a little bit of a spread that you might want to use, and I'll flash it up. Let me think. Right, this is the spread. It's just 5 cards, and it's journey through the dark half of the year. So the first one is the descent. What am I being called to release or face as the light wanes? So that's the start of, it's this time of year, the start of that sort of darker time approaching. The light is waning. Card 2 is the shadow. What hidden truth or emotion seeks to be acknowledged? And that's what I was just talking about when I was on about that prompt to use. And then I've got to bring in a hermit relevance, haven't I? So the lantern, what inner light or wisdom guides me through the darkness? Then 4 is the transformation. What change is quietly taking root within me? Because remember, it's not about things dying away. It's about the transformative process. And then we're coming out of it, the rebirth. How will I emerge renewed when the light returns? So that's the spread. Now, like previously, I think I did a premiere a couple of months ago where I did some numerology of the pips, and I put some slides and I said, if anybody wants them, let me know. I got inundated. So everybody that messaged me, I think I responded to everyone. I did find some in spam a couple of weeks later, and I said, sorry for the delay. But I did respond to everybody, I think, and sent them on. But again, if you want a copy of that, then that's my address, my email address at the bottom. I'm happy to send it on. All I'd ask for is if you use it anywhere, just obviously give credit, because it is one I put together this afternoon. And then I wondered if you wanted just to have a go at doing that. So we can do that as well. On about Bigfoot still. I don't know how Bigfoot keeps making an appearance. Why don't you put your handouts on Google Drive? Me what on what? Talking a different language, Tom. What's Google Drive? I know what Google is. Making food. Yes. A great one is food as well, and that can be ritualistic. A slow cooked meal. I don't switch my slow cooker on after March, but during the winter months, I love doing things like a keema or something like that, or even a gammon joint in Coca-Cola. Just put everything in the slow cooker, switch it on low, go off to work, and then you come back and you're hit with those beautiful smells, and you're like, oh, something really healthy, but filling, because we're in hibernation mode, aren't we? Where we need to feel comforted, and food is great for that. I did a screenshot. But yeah, so another one that's really, really good is cooking foods that are wholesome and filling and nourishing, but also keep you really, really warm. I'm making a beautiful beef vegetable soup tomorrow. Oh, lovely. Google Drive is free. You can upload slides and documents. You could put a link in your channel or video description. I'll have to look into it. I will look into it. Got our slow cooker out today. Hubby is doing a slow cook curry tomorrow. Oh, I love it. I love it. I might do one Monday. I think I'll do a keema. Put it all in Monday morning, switch it on, and then it'll be ready for when I get home. Shall we do that spread then? So, which deck? Well, I know. We talked about autumn colours. So where's that deck from this morning? Okay. So we're going to use the Bordoni by Marco Benedetti. This is the Rivoltini version. This deck, I tell you, this deck is gorgeous. These are the backs. Yeah, let's do the spread. The Half-Witch Garden Herbal Book by Anna Franklin is good for cooking. Oops, that's turned over. I ought to really put the prompts up, and I've got them typed out, I think, without putting the screen back up, because you won't see the cards I'm holding up. But Okay. Split the deck. And then I'm going to count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put them there. And then we'll get the prompts. Okay, so the first one was the descent. What am I being called to release or face as the light wanes? We have the King of Cups. Make sure this light is on it. King of Cups. So for me, what am I being called to release as the light wanes? Balance. I think for me, it's about balance and humility. Because when we think about the King of Cups, it's about releasing control, because that is something that I struggle with. I'm not saying I'm a control freak, but I like to be in control. I'm going to pop the comments open as well, because I want to see what you guys are getting. Gorgeous deck. Which one is that, Simon? Now you're talking. And facing any fears with compassion for myself, because sometimes people are afraid of the dark, and I mean that in a metaphoric way, really. Not necessarily afraid of the dark nights, but afraid of the shadow. And if I'm balancing myself on an emotional level as well, and letting go of that control and surrendering myself to what I need to face, and equally then what I need to release, then it's really important to do it with compassion for myself. What have you guys got? Gorgeous deck. What is it? So yeah, the Bordoni. Where have I just put the box? It's by Marco Benedetti. It's a Rivoltini, which means the backs are folded over onto the front like they used to be. And this is where borders came from, because the card backs used to fold onto the front, and Marco hand makes these. And for me, this is his masterpiece. This is his best ever deck. I mean, look at the colours. Just stunning. Also, because I normally pull a card at the end, I kind of said to myself this afternoon, the first card that comes up will be our card for the week. So if you're in the Hermit's Cave, the card for the week is the King of Cups. Okay. Let's see what you guys are saying. Just starting spread now. 9 of Cups. Ooh. So it's time for you to think about what's around you, Chris. What blessings you've got, and to be content. Hello, Adam. Nice to see you. Wow. 8 of Cups. Lots of cups, isn't there? I read that, Older Moon, I read that completely wrong. I'm not going to read out what I thought you were saying about that skeleton. Oh, dear. Okay. Second prompt then. The shadow. What hidden truth or emotion needs to be acknowledged? So what hidden truth? So that you then go inward, and this is going to be, very personal for everybody there. So you don't necessarily feel that you've got to share, because if there is something that needs to be acknowledged, then shadow work is a very personal experience. If you're happy to share, great. But the chariot again, I think it's about control. I might have to might have to really think about this. What is it? What is it that drives me? What is it that I feel I have to be in control of? What's other people got? I don't know where I'm up to. 2 is 6 of cups, 10 of wands. What hidden truth or emotion needs to be acknowledged? I think I'm doing shadow work right here, guys, with you lot all watching. No, but also inner alignment. I think that is, if we are going inwards at this time of year and we're trying to spend time on ourselves and do the work, as well as thinking about what drives me, what I'm in control of, what can I be in control of, and what can't I be in control of, and therefore let go. But also then bringing it to a place of the acknowledgement is inner alignment. Too busy taking notes. That's absolutely fine. Help, Simon. I got the 10 of swords. Do you know what? The 10 of swords, I think, is, again, for this time of year, remember, the night is at its darkest before the dawn. If you're there, and you're thinking about what needs to be acknowledged, it's about the fact that you don't want that total overwhelm. Remember, swords is about the mind as well. And we just talked about the driving seat. The mind controls everything, but don't get to the point where you're down and out. In the darkest of the night, think about the dawn that's coming and how you're going to get to that dawn. You couldn't do. Thanks, Donna. Okay, third one. We're nearly at the end. We're nearly out of time as well. My Hermit, the lantern. What inner light or wisdom guides me through the darkness? Or for you, what inner light or wisdom will guide you? So again, if you've got the 10 of swords, what's your next card? Because that will help you think about how to get through that period. Ooh, we have the sick. Look at the line work and the colours. So this is a restored version. Okay, so I think Marco had got another version as well, which was more of a facsimile, which is wonderful. I love facsimile decks, but this is restored. And look at the colours that he's used here. Oh, beautiful. So, what inner light or wisdom guides me through the darkness? I mean, for me, 6 is about harmony. It's about harmony and it's about victory. It's about a recognition of the progress that's been made. If we think about the last card and what's come to light and how we're going to do it, I think sometimes it's about, to have that harmony, you've got to get to that place, and it starts with that sort of that recognition of the work that's been done. How can I word it? Balance. It's about balance, and it's about celebrating progress, because we don't, sometimes we are so wrapped up in the middle of that place where we're at, when we've gone inside and we've recognized it as an issue. We do the work, but we need to celebrate the small wins. celebrate the steps that we're taking out of the darkness and into the light, if that makes sense. I've just realized I could actually get the chat up on this. It's because I'm on the prompts and I'm missing your comments. What time are we on? Okay. Self-recognition as well, self-recognition for every aspect of us. I've lost you all. Okay, I want to see your comment. So back in. Okay, so let's see what we've got. Page of Wands. Are you using Marseille? It's the Bordoni, and we've been talking about spiritual practices, and we're just talking about the dark half of the year, and this is just a spread for the dark half of the year. Okay, next one, banner. The transformation, what change is quietly taking root within me? So we talked about celebrating them, but what are they? Oh wow, swords. 7 of Swords. So 7 is new growth, isn't it? And this is a mindset. This is a real mindset, and having the inner conviction to, once we recognize the changes, is having that mindset to then go with it. New growth, inner conviction. Couldn't be clearer, really. The Tower. Shut up, justice. Justice. Perfect. Yeah. Also about being honest with yourself. I think that's really important. And it's something that, I don't know about you, but sometimes if there's something I don't really want to confront, I'm not always honest with myself. And if you can't be honest with yourself and recognize the steps that need to be taken, then that's not doing the work, is it? So be honest with yourself, and then recognize it and go in that new direction with a strong conviction of where you want to be. The last one is, how will I emerge renewed when the light returns? So we've done all that work, and we've been through the dark half of the year, and then we're focusing on where we are headed next. And this wraps it up, really. And what I would say is, half of this that we're doing the work, but we should always have our eye single whenever we approach the tarot. If you think about it, every spread, every reading you do will always have, even the basic past, present, and future, always has that end result as a focus. And when we approach the tarot, we should always be thinking about, we start at the end and then we work back. That's how I do it. I start at the end and then I think about, how am I going to get there? So, okay, I've got the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords. How will I emerge? Well, clarity, focus, letting go of any hostility, letting go of any hostility as I move towards the light. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the Knight of Swords as how I will emerge. Which is interesting. Missing your comments. Yeah. Anyway, let's pop the comments up here because they're doing something strange there. Let me move to the bottom. You can emerge as anyone you want to be. So many. Absolutely. Yeah. It's true. Let me take that banner off. It's absolutely true because, and we'll move into community discussion now. You can be anything you want to be. And it's great to have a vision of yourself because we create our own realities. Yes, I've always said, we are the sum of our lived experiences. We are who we are because of every experience we've ever had, every thought we've ever had, every deed we've ever done, every decision that we've ever made has shaped us into the person we are now. But we never stand still. We're always evolving and we're always changing. And somebody mentioned earlier about we're energy, and we absolutely are. And if you have a vision of the person you want to be, and you're on that journey to be that person, but recognizing or accepting the steps along the way, then we're moving in that clear process, aren't we? And that's doing the work. Whatever comes up that we have to confront. I don't like how my Hermit's light was restricted and oppression with the 8 swords. Then there's me emerging as the Hierophant. I look a right prick in this spread. No, you don't, because remember the 8 of Swords. It's only an entrapment of the mind, isn't it? Your light is still shining. The light is still there. It's within you, and it's a prison of our own making. And the Hierophant is just somebody who, you are a Hierophant. You're a Hierophant in the community. A Hierophant is a teacher. It's somebody who but somebody who imparts knowledge, somebody who people go to for advice and guidance. You do that. You do your monthly readings for people. I would imagine a lot of people look to you as that sort of figure, Chris. I'm coming out of this a miser. 30, I did get 4 coins. It's not a miser. The 4 of coins is somebody who's frugal, but somebody who, remember, it's our earth suit, it's our resources, and you're holding on tight to them because you want stability. Remember, 4, it's a 4, it's stability. And it's the stability of your basic needs, your home life, your finances, your career, whatever it is. So I wouldn't. I think it's great when the 4 of Swords comes up, and when people say about a miser, I think, yeah, not really. It depends on the question, the spread, the cards around it, everything else. So, community discussion. Final points. There was a quote I'm going to finish with. It's unknown. I saw it somewhere. I've always remembered it. I tried to Google today and it's drawn a blank. So, but the trees are about to show us how lovely it is to let things go. And, they're about to do that. Some are already doing it. But as we go further into October and the end of the month, they're about to show us just how beautiful it is, how lovely it is to let things go. So let's release that's holding us back, and let's love that expression. Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? Let's release what's holding us back, and let's come out of the dark half of the year, the person that we want to be. All right, thanks everyone. So if we remember the King of, oh gosh, was it the King of Swords? Can't even remember what I pulled now. Is our card. I better leave it out actually, because it'll be the 5th from the end, won't it? No, it's not. No, it's King of Cups. Is our card. Yes, that's the 5th card from the end. Is our card for the week in the Hermit's Cave. So I'll write it up next and I'll post it into the Hermit's Cave. But you want to move away from London, I can highly recommend Nottingham. Just saying, lovely city. But I am biased. Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be doing I'm going to do these two together. Because I think it'll be great to, again, because thinking of the theme of light and dark, by the same creator. So I'm going to show them together tomorrow in tomorrow's video. And then I've got 2 more decks from Marco Benedetti arriving next week. Hopefully. It's been a nightmare again. UPS. I'm not even going to go there. I need to let it go. I need to write UPS on a bay leaf and set fire to the... Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the week. Have a wonderful weekend. If you're in the UK, take care in this storm. Stay safe, and until next time, go in peace. Namaste, and blessed be.